We have a new document from the Trump FEMA and the Trump CDC. And it predicts that by June 1st, we may see 3,000 coronavirus deaths per day. This is the exact opposite of the prevailing narrative from the Trump administration. The prevailing narrative is deaths peaked in mid-April at about 2,500 a day. They have been coming down and they will continue to come down. So we should start reopening. That's a big difference than what FEMA and the CDC say, which is by June 1st, the US alone will see 200,000 new cases a day and 3,000 deaths per day. How could there be such a conflict? Well, we're going to figure that out. You all know I have not been playing politics with coronavirus from day one. I have no interest in playing politics with it. I hope that Donald Trump gets deaths down to zero like that. And I have no concerns about the political implications of that. I want to see the deaths reduced right away. I hope Trump is right here and the CDC and FEMA are wrong. When we look at the headlines so far, cases have been sort of pretty steadily around 25,000 new cases a day since the first days of April. We're testing about 3 times as much now as we were a month ago. So if we keep finding 25,000 new cases a day, but we triple testing, that implies that we are starting to be on the tail end to some degree. When we look at deaths, we saw what looks like a peak in deaths around April 20th, around 2,500 deaths a day. Although it's been pretty up and down, one would imagine, one would hope that deaths are going to keep coming down, not go back up to 3,000 a day 25 days from now. When presented with these documents from FEMA and the CDC, the Trump administration so far has simply said, these are real documents, but they have not been presented to the White House Coronavirus Task Force. We've not evaluated them. We are not in a position to say that CDC and FEMA are right. Now, what would be a reason why we would see the numbers seemingly coming down, but then go all the way back up later this month? Sadly, the answer is something very basic. The early hotspots seem to be past their peak. New York, here in Massachusetts, we had only 1.3% case growth yesterday. New Jersey. But the places that did not have an early increase, an early outbreak, they are increasingly on a trajectory to become hotspots. That's what viral growth is. When you look at Florida, for example, bragging for weeks and weeks that they're fine, they're good to reopen. 615 new cases in Florida on Sunday, more than 800 or 900 yesterday. In 14 days, if that trajectory continues, Florida will be a hub of coronavirus in the United States. Georgia had 339 new cases on Sunday. On Monday, they had more than double that. If that trajectory continues, Georgia's in trouble. Louisiana, very big increase from Sunday to Monday. So the numbers are still small. You're talking about hundreds of cases a day, not thousands or tens of thousands. But look at the percentage increases and extrapolate out 10, 15 days. Those will be massive death zones if that happens. Now, if we get to 3,000 deaths per day around June 1st, we are going to blow the 100,000 person death toll out of the water very, very quickly. Just 10 days of 3,000 a day is 30K. If we go from where we are now to 3,000 in the next 25 days, that's another 50,000 deaths. So if this estimate is correct, by mid-June, we would be at 150,000 deaths, and we would just be getting started. I hope that this is not accurate. That would be a daily 9/11. What I fear the most is that the Trump administration knows that they've failed, and they are not going to even address these new concerns from CDC and FEMA, that they're not even going to try, and they're just going to do propaganda and economic messages from here on out while shifting the blame for the deaths to governors. I wish I could say that that wasn't going to work, but unfortunately it may. They're not beating it. They're not protecting Americans. But what they have shown they can do effectively is shift blame and distract and now say, listen, we did our part. We're now doing the economic stuff. These governors aren't testing enough. These governors aren't making the right decisions. These governors haven't secured PPE. It's on them now. I hope it doesn't work. I hope this death toll doesn't even happen. But this is what CDC and FEMA are now predicting. Let me know what you think. Check out the reports. Check out the papers. And let me know on Twitter at @dpakman. Also, very exciting, in what is phase one of creating a daily written digest of the David Pakman Show, we have switched our newsletter to a service called Substack. It's totally free. You can sign up at davidpakman.substack.com or on our website. If you go to davidpakman.com, in the upper right where it says like keep in touch, get on the newsletter, that also will put you on this new service. For now, we are just doing our mailing list over on Substack, but starting next week and the week after, it's going to be expanded into like a daily written digest of the David Pakman Show, completely free. Sign up. We'll take a quick break and be back after this.